book now; it's doing incredible, and you've got the movie coming out. And tell us again about when the movie's coming out, and the timing and the purpose of the timing.
The purpose of the timing was 30 days before midterm. I'd gone to the producer and said, look, I feel like the Lord's telling us we need to have this 30 days before the midterms because it'll be a weapon to be used, to help win the elections for Donald Trump, to turn it red. And they did honor that, and they did, in fact, have it 30 days before the midterm. So it's going to be October 2nd and the 4th. It's a Fathom event, 2-night event, in about 1,200 theaters nationwide, and they can go to the TrumpProphecyMovie.com, type in your zip code, and it'll tell you what theater is playing around you. If we get more people, if it's more popular, then they will add a couple of nights, I think, and more locations. But until that happens, right now it's just October 2nd and the 4th.
Hey, Mark, this is Matthew again. I want to jump to your prophecies. You have 2 words on energy and energy independence.
Right.
And you talked about how a sign would be is that when America and Israel are energy independent. The head of the International Energy Agency said January 18th, 2018, that now the United States is the world's undisputed oil and natural gas leader. So tell us about the prophetic words. Tell us about where do you think these, are there going to be new energy finds? Tell us your thoughts.
Yeah, I wrote Energy December 16, 2016, and it says the Lord was releasing new energy, and that the energy, America and Israel will be energy independent, and they will be the top energy producers in the world. Well, it was just at I believe it was the Las Vegas Trump rally here, not even a week ago, that he announced officially, we are the top energy producer in the world. And that blew me away when he said that. It talks about also in that particular prophecy, it talked about a sign would be given, a massive volcanic eruption will happen, will signal that. Well, that happened about, don't quote me on this, a few months back. And the Lord told me Sumatra. I didn't write down Sumatra in the prophecy. I should have. And if you watch the Sumatra volcanic eruption on the video on YouTube, you'll see trumpet flowers in the background, which is a sign that was what the guy was talking about. Now, that particular prophecy also says, you countries that have dominated energy for decades to move your evil agenda are charged with this guilt. Your days are numbered, and you will say, look at how fast this was built. My America, my Israel will be one, and because of this, you'll become undone. Because of your rage and the money you made from those countries you manipulated and attacked from within, you will now have to turn from those countries to help on a whim, for your wells will go dry, and your finances too, for you will now be fed from the red, white, and blue. Now, here's the interesting part. It talks about their oil wells will go dry. Right after Trump got into office, he went to Saudi Arabia to meet with them for the first time, and they had this massive arms deal that they did. And I'm thinking, why in the world are they making a massive arms deal? And it came out on Fox News, Brett Baer, I believe it was, and he said the reason Saudi Arabia is making a massive arms deal with the United States right now is while they have the money, because their wells are about to go dry. And my mouth dropped when I heard that. And so you're going to see a lot of these countries in the Middle East, their wells are going to go dry, and they're going to have to come to America and Israel for their energy.
The late prophet Kim Clement, he had made a prophecy about energy, I think about 10 years ago, and he had mentioned that the prophecy would be deep in the ground. And just doing some research, methane hydrate is flammable ice. It's methane that's trapped deep in the ocean in ice. I mean, do you, so where do you see, I know you've talked a little about, I think I had mentioned, or I heard you speak in one of your past interviews, how oil rigs that were down in Central and South America have now come back to the United States. So do you see a supernatural replenishing of oil and gas in the United States? Do you see new finds, or do you also see, is the Lord sharing with you anything about methane hydrate?
Not specifically methane hydrate, but I think there's new forms of energy that are definitely coming. I mean, we've got free energy out there right now. They just won't turn it loose. You're going to see just the oil and natural gas alone just go through the roof, basically. And I think there's a difference between energy independent and being an exporter of oil as well. So there's something to do when Trump says that we are independent, we don't rely on anyone else, and we're exporting this oil and this energy. There's a shift that's going to take place, I think, for something in the spiritual. But I believe also there will be new energies that are already there. I think they're already here. They're already here. They just won't turn them loose. They're being stifled. But I believe that they will turn them loose at that time. But also, it's just like Kim Clement prophesied there was cures coming. They've been stifling these cures that are coming, and I believe also under Donald Trump that these cures for medical cures, like stuff that Kim had prophesied, I believe we're going to be turned loose under Donald Trump.
Yeah, mentioned about the cures. Q also mentioned in his post how there's large multinationals are sitting on cures. Right. When you and I had talked earlier this year, you had mentioned about debt was the stone in the shoe of America, and that the Lord was going to download into Donald Trump a way, somehow, some way, to deal with the U.S. debt. Can you share about that?
Yeah, what that stone is, I'm not 100% on what the stone is exactly. I know Kim Clement had prophesied that there would be a stone, a simple stone, that would wipe out the debt. Now, what that stone is, I thought it could be shale, because that is stone. If you look up the definition of shale, it is stone. So you're looking at, we are now the top energy producer in the world, so could it be that stone is shale? I don't know. Again, prophetic words are mysteries. That's something that we'll find out when it comes to pass, or, sometimes God can reveal it to someone before, the clues beforehand. So, God, it's funny because even Kim said, God will veil the eyes of even the prophetic voice a lot of times. And it's like he doesn't share all the details, because people ask me, hey, what's coming next? How are we going to get to this point of being debt-free? That part I do not know. I just know that God's going to deal with the debt at some point.
Is the Lord sharing anything with you about a potential global reset? I know some of the top financial experts in the world are talking about this. Any insight on a global reset?
He hasn't shared anything with me specifically on a global reset. I can tell you what I sense. There could be a type of global reset that could be part of dealing with the debt. It could be part of bringing down the Fed. I think at some point the Federal Reserve is going to come down. All these things are kind of above my pay grade, as far as knowledge and how this is going to happen. But God has not specifically told me the details of how it's going to happen. Could we have a reset here in the United States? Sure. Is it going to be something that's going to take us into a depression? No, I don't think any of that's coming. I think we've got great days ahead of us in America. The economy is going to be booming. Could there be some blips along the way where we have a reset? Sure, absolutely. But that doesn't mean that the United States is going to falter at any point.
And transitioning into that, I know you talk a lot about do not listen to the prophets of doom and gloom. I know the years ago, a while back, there was a gentleman, in fact, I can't remember the name of there was he was talking about how the stock market was going to crash and all these things. But anyway, bottom line is you say don't listen to the doom and gloom prophets. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Right. It's the pastors, it's the teachers, it's the preachers, it's all this doom and gloom that they're firing across the airwaves. They're firing across, even some people are prophesying doom and gloom. America's under judgment. America's going to fall. No, it's not, folks. It's the systems that are under judgment. And unfortunately, the churches are a part of the systems. And that's where I get attacked from people in the church because they don't want to hear it. And it's like, we can go into a whole segment on some of this other stuff, but it's the fact that the doom and gloomers, what they've done, brother, is they have gone above and beyond preaching a fear-based message, trying to win people to Christ through a fear-based message, and to the point to where they're robbing the people of hope. When you rob people of hope, you rob them of the will to fight. You have people out there right now that are throwing their hands up going, forget it, I'm just done, I'm going to wait for the Lord to come back. The escapism mentality. And it's like, look, nobody's going anywhere until the job is finished. And this job's not finished. Now, the Lord can come back anytime he wants. He can come back before we finish this broadcast. The point being is, Jesus said to occupy until he returns. Well, you can't occupy with an escapism mentality. It's like Kim Clement. I'll quote what he said. that the escapism mentality is one of the single greatest killers to destiny. And he was right. Because what you're doing is you're taking the hope out of people, the fight out of people. I sat in a congregation one time years ago when I first got out of the fire department, a 1,200 people congregation, and this pastor said, folks, the New World Order's coming. There's nothing you can do about it. Don't even fight it. And I looked at my wife and I said, did he just actually say what I heard him say? Are you kidding me? You just told your flock to lay down their weapons of warfare and that they have no chance of winning? I'm sorry, but we won in World War I when the New World Order rose. We won it in World War II. We're going to win it again. Because God is going to do something here. His word has got to go forth upon the earth and have a massive harvest at hand. And you can't do it when you're robbing people of hope. They're sitting in their recliners, twiddling their thumbs, thinking, well, we only got 2 or 3 more years left, so we're just going to ride this thing out. So that's what the Lord is talking about, is that you're preaching a message that you're taking people out of the fight. And that's not what is supposed to happen.
And, on that note, we know Scripture says out of the mouth